All right, there seems to be no end to rising food costs in the country. The cost of the basic household food basket has increased by nearly 9% over the last year. This is according to the latest affordability index by the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group. Let's discuss this with its program coordinator, Mervyn Abrahams, who joins me now. So a 9% increase over the last year, Mervyn, in as far as the food basket is concerned. Just give us a sense of what are some of the cost drivers and, what are the patterns and trends that you are seeing around food price increases?
So there are numerous drivers to these price increases. Largely, it has been the price of petrol earlier on in the year, as well as electricity prices, and these continue to be risks. But then also the weather has played an immense role in spiking, particularly fresh produce between December and January. So we've seen a massive increase, for instance, in the price of tomatoes and carrots and butternut, all of it weather-related. So the impact of climate change is having an impact on the price of the food at retail level.
And which, you mentioned the price of tomatoes and the likes affected by adverse weather, but which other items in your basket? Because you've got a standard basket that you've worked out as, an ideal and the average grocery basket on which you base this price movement that you track. So which other items are going up?
So really, we've seen an across-the-board increase of most of the core foods. So 15 out of the 17 core foods. And when we talk core foods, we mean things like maize meal, bread, oil, salt, potatoes, onions, chicken. So 15 of those have increased, as well as 35 of the 44 foods that we track. However, the biggest increases were in the fresh produce sector. And that is a little bit unnerving, because it was the fresh produce prices that actually helped the basket remain fairly stable during October, November, and December.
And Mervyn, I'm looking at the increase between December 2021 and January 2022. It's huge, in relative terms, 2.9%. And you are saying that it's about adding about 125 Rand and 8 cents to the average cost of the household food basket. That's not a small increase. It may sound like 2.9%, but happening month to month, it's not small at all.
No, it is definitely not small at all when we consider that the low levels of wages that are coming into the homes of the majority of South Africans and the low levels of social grants. So what we are seeing is food prices are far outstripping levels of household income. And of course, that is causing a crisis of affordability. But Thulas, we also need to take into cognizance of the fact that when petrol price increase, the possibility of electricity price increase again this year, what this does is it leaves less money in the household purse to purchase food. At the same time, because petrol and electricity are major input costs into food production, these increases also increase the food prices. So it is not only prices that are increasing, it is also that households are having less money in their pocket in order to purchase this food, and therein lies the crisis of affordability that South Africans are facing.
And there's a reason you track all of this, Mervyn, I presume to inform policy interventions and other things that can be done to improve the state of our economy. And the reason I ask you that is that even the average food basket that you have, that you've put together, is at about 4,401 and 2 cents in January this year. The average South African doesn't earn that much. So, I mean, to put that into that context for me and what the implications are for food poverty in South Africa.
So, Thulasizwe, as you know, that food poverty in South Africa and actually hunger and undernutrition is not a new problem in South Africa. It's been with us for a very long time. And it's largely based on the fact that incomes are too low to sustain that. So for an example, the national minimum wage is at 3,643 Rand in January. So with that one wage, you still will not be able to purchase our entire basket. The net effect of that is that households are either eating less food or they are eating less nutritional food. And the impact of that is to be seen in our healthcare system, for instance, with increasing burden of comorbidities, high levels of various kind of illnesses associated with chronic undernutrition. But we're also seeing that in the impact of our educational outcomes. So in a sense, not being able to provide sufficient food for South African households has its impact later on in health, in education, and even in economic productivity. So we really have to begin to look and see how do we ensure that people can can have sufficient and, of course, nutritious food.
I imagine then, as a final question to you, Mervyn, that you are not only watching closely conversations around social relief reform, the package of social relief that we have in the country, reforms there too, but also this whole conversation around the possibility and the need or otherwise of a minimum, a basic income grant in the country.
Yes, Thulasizwe, we definitely are watching that with great interest because we believe that a basic income grant set at a reasonable value, Rand value, could contribute massively, both in eradicating poverty, but of course every Rand that the government gives to citizens is spent in the economy, so that creates greater demand, which can in turn lead to greater employment. It seems to us that those who are objecting to the basic income grant, the onus is on them to say, how are we going to get South Africa out of this economic doldrums with almost 50% unemployment?
All right, I've got to leave it there. Thank you for that. That's a powerful statement to leave it with, to say the ball is in your court if you don't believe this is the policy path to take of a basic income grant. That is Mervyn Abrahams who is the program coordinator at the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group, telling us about a shocking increase in the price of food in a basket that they put together as that project. To sort of track the rise of prices of basic foods in the economy.